Welcome to Picture Book Chat, where we feature a handful of new picture books each month and discuss what makes them great. Whether you're a parent, caregiver, or teacher, you're bound to find some wonderful reading suggestions from librarians Mary Ellen Brax and Sheri Boggs.
Hi, welcome to Picture Book Chat, the library show that tells you about the newest picture books and points out what we like about them. I'm Sheri Boggs. I'm the Youth Collection Development for the Spokane County Library District, and with me today is Mary Ellen. Tell us what you do, Mary Ellen.
I am the Public Services Manager for Early Learning. So while Sheri buys all the books, I get to use them, or my staff get to use them with the kids, and we recommend them to parents.
Right. So there's a lot of different things that we look for when we look at picture books, and so we're going to try to talk about those as we go.
Right.
So what do we have first, Mary Ellen?
We have this one called Sometimes It's Nice to Be Alone. So it's about a little girl who's talking about, sometimes it's nice to be alone, social, emotional, I want some space type of thing. It's written by Amy Hest, and it's illustrated by Stead. I think I said that right. And this one is just a really sweet book about taking, acknowledging that sometimes it's nice to have your own space. But then they work on, well, what if a friend pops in? And I like this because they said, well, sometimes it's nice when a friend pops in, and there you are, eating your cookie with a friend. So they always put it into a positive light, which I really like. For some kids, if you invade their space, they're not real happy about that. Goes for adults too.
Yeah.
Right?
This was my alone time.
Yes.
Go away.
So each kind of two-page spread talks about that. So here, there's a little girl on the swing reading a book, just you reading your book alone, and the only sound in the world is the whispery sound of you turning pages. But what if a friend stops by? And then I like that. Well, sometimes it's nice when a friend stops by, and there you are reading your book with a friend. So that's basically how it goes through this whole thing about different instances where you're alone, and then what do you do when a friend shows up? And then the illustrations in here are just gorgeous. Yeah. And it really uses your imagination. So here they were tumbling, and then you see them they're in the ocean then for the next one. Tucking and rolling along with a friend. So kind of that, different ways to do, some of the activities that she's doing. I thought it was a really nice way to go about it. Like this page too, with just the colors on it. The color story in here is absolutely gorgeous. There's some nice vocabulary in here. This talks about gliding to the bottom of a hill. And then I just thought they did a really nice job. As you can see, the illustrations in this are great. I love that her friend is now an alligator or a crocodile. And then, talking about going into your secret tree house.
Oh, that's great.
And then this picture with the giraffe here. Let's see if we can get that so you can see it. Yeah. Just a nice job. What did you think about it, Sheri?
I loved this a lot. The illustrator is the same one they've done a bunch of other books, but probably the most famous one is A Sick Day for Amos McGee. It won the Caldecott Medal, can't remember the year, but I love that there are some characters from his other books that make appearances, like the elephant makes me think of the elephant in A Sick Day for Amos McGee.
Yes.
And I love that, I noticed this as you were paging through it, but I love that you get a hint about what animal's coming next. Like there's always kind of a little toy somewhere in the frame. So you see the little tiny elephant here, and then there it is, as big as life on the next page. So I thought that was really fun. I loved the page with the whale and how just the illustrations, like I like how the whale is mimicking the motion of the girl in the page before. So just art-wise, there's a lot to look at here. And then text-wise, I love the repetition, that there's a predictable like word scheme going on.
And you can have the kids join in, too.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to be alone, just you reading your book alone. But what if a friend stops by? Like those two things they can say with you because it's repeated all through the book.
Right. Right, and I love that actually you can ask the kids, but what if a friend stops by, and before you turn the page, you can say, what would you do if a friend stopped by there? And then after they give some suggestions, you can then turn it and say, see how she handled it.
Right. Yeah, so lots of imagination and kind of playing with scenarios with kids. I think that's good. It's kind of like coaching kids, to navigate change.
Yes.
Or things that happen that are unexpected.
Right.
Always good. But yeah, I love this one. And I like the size of the text. I think, especially if you're doing this with older preschoolers or early elementary, I think like sometimes if you're close enough that they can see the text when it's this big, that's definitely something that helps enhance literacy.
Yes.
Always great.
Yeah, so
just
a really
love this.
fun one to go and just I think and there are some subtle seasonal changes as you look through this book too. So here she is in the cold winter night, and then she's dreaming, and then I love that she is dreaming of the little toy penguin there. So yeah, there's some seasonal changes through this that you could point out too and use. So. Yeah, a really good one. I really like that one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be popular.
Yes. Great. So what do we have next?
Well, I think there's also, we're going to be showing you the ISBN. If you want to place a hold on this, you can just scan it with your iPhone, and that'll take you to our app, and you can place a hold in case these are all checked out when you visit your library, which sometimes happens after Picture Book Chat. So the next one, I want to, speaking of great art, this one is called This Is Not My Home. And this is by Eugenia Yo and Vivienne Chang. And what initially attracted me to this book, is what I'm trying to say, was this cover image. And there was an artist I used to love, well, I still love, but I discovered them like in the mid-2000s, I think. Their name is Yoshitomo Nara. And all of their artwork has this kind of, there's lots of children and lots of like really big mouths and kind of expressions of dismay. And so at first I thought, oh my gosh, they're doing picture books, and it wasn't them at all. It's just kind of a similar style. But I love this. I think this is really engaging. I think this big cartoony kind of face and mouth is going to be attractive to kids. They're going to be like, oh, what's going on there? She almost looks like Lucy from Peanuts.
Oh, yeah, she does.
So I think just this cover art is amazing. But this is about a little girl who it starts out, she's jumping on her bed and her mom's got some news for her. And so they play chase through the house. And the mom's surprised that she wants to tell her they're moving to Taiwan. And I love that she's just like, what? Not necessarily welcome news. And so I love this. It's kind of almost like comic book panels, with these like word bubbles, and she's listing all of the things she's going to miss. Like she's going to miss their car, their backyard barbecues, the fireflies at Parsley Park, her best friend Jill. What about our home and school in Strawberry Hill Farmers Market? So she's got all these specific things about where she lives now that she loves, that she's worried she's going to miss. And the mom, I love this. The mom is just like, we have to do this. Your grandma's there. We're going to go see her, and please try to be understanding. Like, she empathizes, but she's also like, we're doing this. I just love the deep frown going on here. So she doesn't like the airplane ride. She's not even sure she likes seeing Grandma. Grandma says, welcome home, and she goes, this is not my home. So there's all these things she has to adjust to. This is not my backyard barbecue. There's a giant whole fish here, some hot pot, some crawdads, it looks like. There's all these things she has to get used to. There's a scooter instead of the car. Toilets in Taiwan, a lot of them are like this, where you're crouching on the ground. There's like some bugs. She's just like, this Buddha is not her friend Jill. So I think there's some funny stuff going on in the art, but it's also very realistic about what this new culture is like. And I'm just going to go through this whole book unless I give you a chance to talk about it, Mary Ellen.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's really good. As a child who moved around a lot, this would have been a great one to have because every time my dad was in the military, so we moved around a lot. And, you know, every time I say, you weren't happy about moving and this is not my home. But what I do like about this is that, you know, the longer she's there, she starts to make friends. And so there's a lot in here about feelings, like she sees all the kids on the playground and they're talking, but she's walking home alone. Very realistic depiction, I thought.
Yeah.
And, but it does show her she starts slowly and surely, she is, you know, saying, oh yeah, okay, this is home. This is starting to be home. So, you know, it's just, you see through, and I love the motion through here.
Yes.
As she's going through and doing different things, and then suddenly you see somebody's helping her in school, then you see she's got a friend, and then she's got more friends, she's doing more activities, she's seeming happier, that frown has changed into a smile, and, you know, at the end, you know, she says, this is my home. So, I mean, it always takes an adjustment. And as a kid who moved around a lot, every time I moved, I don't want to move. This is my home. I don't want to move. This is my home. So I can see this would have been great to have, I know, for my mom. Because my parents were really good at being sympathetic, but we had to move.
Yeah.
We had to do that. And the end papers are great. I love that it's at the beginning, it's daytime and you see where they're living, and then at nighttime, and then you see where they're living at the end. So I thought that was kind of a nice way they segue that they did this. So yeah, I think they did a really good job with this. I would definitely recommend this to anybody who's going through a move. And you've got kids of different ages too. I think that would work really well still too with kiddos of different ages. So I really liked it. I thought they did a really nice job. And you know, it's hard enough moving to a new community, moving to a whole new country which I've done a couple of times as a kid. It's really hard, and it really takes you out of your comfort zone, but you can get into a new comfort zone, and I think this is very reassuring.
Right.
There. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like this book because it is so realistic. Like it's very specific about the things that she is leaving behind and the things she has to get used to. But I like that there's no escapism in this. Like she doesn't just jump in a hot air balloon and float away. Like, you know, her mom tells her this is my home and this can be our home, which I liked that empathy piece, too. But also, you know, just say like, we need to do this. It's like you're saying with your parents. You know, you can have your feelings, but it's not going to change what we're doing. And so I just think this is really beautifully done that way. Yeah. So that was This Is Not My Home by Eugenia Yo, and that's YOH. We're going to show the ISBN so you can scan it and look it up in our catalog.
Yes.
What's next, Mary Ellen?
So I know this was one of your favorites.
It sure is.
Such a funny book. We do tend to like funny books, too. This is One Chicken Nugget, and it's by Tadgh Bentley. And so he also is the author illustrator of The Little Penguin Gets the Hiccups. So there is some great humor in this. The color story in this is wonderful, but again, some great end papers, so you can kind of talk about, well, what do you think is going to happen in this story? I will say this is one that more for elementary age kiddos. And you see there's a nugget eating contest going on here, and then there's a story. So it starts off where this little monster just loves his chicken nuggets. And then he just wants to eat them all. But then he finds a little stand where he can get chicken nuggets.
The dream.
So he just keeps eating them all. So she's having a really hard time just keeping up with the demand because he's eating so many. So she comes up with a contest to slow him down a little bit. And she asks the little monster, just how many chicken nuggets can you eat? And he says, 1 million. No, double 1 million, double that. So she was just out of ideas, but then she came up with this contest where slowly every day you eat a chicken nugget, but then you double it the next day, and then you double it. So it's all about the exponential growth in here. There's a lot of math in here, too, which is kind of fun to see. You're doubling it and how quickly it gets to a really high number. So day 1, he's like, oh, this is easy. Day 12, you're already up to 2,048, and he's not looking quite so happy by day 12. Day 14, 8,192. He's feeling pretty good still. But then you get to, wow, he is really struggling here. On day 29, Frank finally had to admit he was starting to feel a wee bit full. But he rallies. Finally, it was day 30, 536,870,912 chicken nuggets, which is a whole lot, even for a monster like Frank. So then he goes to, what is he going to do with this? And then finally, it happens.
Yuck.
He burps. And he rallies, he tries, and then handed it to her. He couldn't eat that last chicken nugget. So it's really, the illustrations are great. The colors are nice and bright. It almost looks like pastels to me.
Yeah.
Those really brilliant colors. Then it ends with, though hot dogs were a different story. So there he goes again. But and then at the end, there's a great author's note because it's based off of a old folktale,
right?
An old story here, and there's lots of different versions of it. So the type of doubling is really popular in their stories. So I thought it was really great, and they do have a little section here on human population growth too.
Yeah, I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, so the author's note is definitely worth reading. It was a fun one, and I just love the expressions. But here I am, I know you love this story. Yeah,
I know. It's once you get going with these, it's hard to stop pointing things out because you see more kind of with each reading. And in this case, I don't think I really noticed this before, but I love the kind of the cartoon animation style of the art. It's super exaggerated. I could see this being like a Pixar short or something. Oh, yeah. I love her exaggerated puffballs.
Yeah.
I love
the big eyeglasses.
Yes. And how his thick, crazy looking horns. On one page, I think he's giving her finger guns, which I thought was hilarious. He's kind of saying how much he can eat.
I can do this.
Yeah, and the science. Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Hilarious. I like that there's a lot of movement in it. You see them at the table. You see them by themselves. I love the little chalkboard saying how many he's got to eat that day. Again, with the exaggeration.
Yeah.
And like you say, the colors are fantastic in this. It's got kind of a almost like a Twilight Sunset look to it.
Yeah, and I love that it's a little girl problem solving and coming up with a solution to that too, and that she's figuring out the math, and so I really like that aspect of it too. Yeah,
when you were talking about the other folk tales, I think in the note in the back he talks about Demi's 1 grain of rice. Yeah, I think, which would be a good thing. It's another story about exponential growth that you could pair with this.
Yeah, that would make
a little bit older.
Yeah. Pairing. But once again, I think it's long, and so it would be great for that second grade.
Yeah.
You could do kindergarten too, but if you've got a kiddo who really loves stories like this, there's some preschoolers who will sit forever and read a story.
Yeah.
So, just knowing your age group, but for a group of preschoolers, it might be a little bit too long. But I thought it would really appeal to that early elementary age.
Yeah. And I think introducing the idea of exponential growth, like even I as an adult, like in my head I was like, would it really be that much at the end? And like I love that there's a little chart at the end and like you can see it. Like it just it's hard to even imagine. And I think like if you were to start this book with asking kids like what if you could eat like twice as many bowls of cereal as the day before or whatever.
Right.
And
or
they'd be like, awesome.
Yeah. Would you choose to do this
Pizzas.
With?
Yeah. So I think, education-wise, I think teachers could have a lot of fun with this.
Yeah. So another fun one. So, it was a great story. And I love how they were able to entwine the story with the map. Too. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Trying to get this
So again, we'll put the ISBN, the ISBN up on the screen, and then you'll be able to screenshot that and put a hold on it if you want.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
We're at our last book, I think.
Yes.
And I think this one's me. Oh, here we go. Driving My Tractor.
Yes.
So this is a board book. I love the colors. This would be a good one. It seems to be taking place in the fall. We're recording this one in the spring, but I love the kind of harvesty colors. There's audio and video included. There's a code in the back that you can scan. So I did look up the music to this, and I've probably forgotten it, so I'm not going to try to sing it. But this is one that you could sing if you chose to do so.
I missed that completely when we were looking at it.
So actually, this is actually summary, so this is a good one. Driving my tractor down a bumpy road, and in my trailer, there's a heavy load. As you can see, there's a lot going on in this page. There are all these different crops that are being grown. You can kind of see a little bit of a cow over here. You can talk about what he's pulling, like are those straw bales? Could it be something else? There's a black and white cow going moo, moo, moo. It's a very busy day. Chug, chug, clank, clank, toot. It's a very busy day. So there's going to be repetition with the sounds that you hear, so you can do sound effects in the story time. You're learning about your farm animals and the sounds they make. You can see that things are starting to grow. Like you've got, I'm assuming this is cauliflower over here is getting a little bigger. I don't know if these are carrots or beets, but those are coming up, your onions. So there's also plant life to identify. Driving my tractor down a bumpy road, and in my trailer there's a heavy load, so it keeps going with that refrain. There are two gray donkeys going hee-haw, hee-haw. It's a very busy day. So this turns into a counting book, too. So for a board book, there's so much going on in here, which I like. What did you think about this one?
Yeah, I really liked it. The more I read and I realized, you can have some counting in here. I do think that this would be a good one for preschool.
Yeah.
If you've got a toddler who will sit there, it's a little bit long for toddlers, but there's enough repetition in it. It might keep some toddlers interested. And especially if you can make all the animal sounds, so you can make the donkey and the cow sound. There's so much to point out too, so it would be a good one to do one-on-one, maybe with a toddler.
Yeah.
But in terms of reading out loud for a group, I would say definitely preschool. And with the math that they included in here, as well as the different animals and the different sounds you can make. You've got some seasons going on through here because it starts with fall, goes to winter in here.
This page is great.
Yeah, and there's pigs and there's rabbits. I mean, there's so many things you can point out in these pages, which is really good for really little ones and vocabulary development, that you can work on the different animal names, on the sounds, and then here we are back to spring again. Just really, I think, bright and fun. I would
some color identification if you want to.
Yeah, definitely. And the 5 brown chickens. I mean, just a lot of fun that you can do so many different books along with this. You can do McDonald's as a farm. There's so many farm books out there. This one would be a great one. And they end with a very busy day. Phew! And then at the end...
This is great.
kids will love this with all the different farm machines and vehicles too. So there's a lot to appeal in here to different kids, which I really liked about it. So yeah, just a really fun board book.
Yeah.
Oh, and then all the vegetables.
This was great too.
Yeah,
like there, you could do
end.
some counting, and I like that it's interactive. It says here, farms grow fruits, vegetables, flowers, and other plants. Which ones have you seen or eaten?
Yeah, which is a great.
So yeah, so much going on in this one. This publisher, I can't remember if they. Sometimes you'll see a board book and a picture book from the same publisher of the same title, and I can't remember if Barefoot Books does that, but if they do, definitely be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
You know, if you wanted to do this in a story time or something. Like this is a pretty good size, but
yeah, it's a pretty good size if you had a smaller story time
group. Yeah,
you could use it. If you've got a big group, it's going to be a little bit harder to see the pages. But it is a really fun one. So again, we will put up the ISBN number for you to be able to scan it and put a hold on it and try it out with your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Well, we're at the end of our picture book chat.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. This was great.
Yeah, so we hope you all have a great day, and we'll see you next time on Picture Book Chat.
Bye.